Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of An Extra Slice of History with the Butterfly Princess. This week, we are continuing our mini series within the series of An Extra Slice of History, where we're discussing the six wives of Henry VIII. This week, we're going to be discussing Henry VIII's fifth and youngest wife, Catherine of Howard. Catherine Howard, sorry, not Catherine of Howard. So Catherine Howard. So let me tell you about her. So it is thought that Catherine, the fifth wife of Henry VIII, was born somewhere between the years of 1518 and 1524. Although, having said this, we only have we say a rough estimate between the years of 1518 and 1524 for her birth year, because nobody knows the exact her exact date of birth. And she was also the cousin of Henry VIII's second wife, Anne Boleyn, because her mother and her uncle were Howard. So that's where the connection was on that one. She was born into an aristocratic, wealthy family. She was reason why she was a cousin to Anne Boleyn and the Boleyn family was because she was the daughter of a younger brother of the third Duke of Norfolk, and this made her also the first cousin to Anne Boleyn, Henry's second wife. We don't really know we don't really know much about Catherine Howard's childhood, though according to historian David Starkey, or her early life, it's in his words, it's a scrabbled childhood with a domineering, providing mother and a weak, debt-ridden and henpecked father. That's according to the very controversial historian David Starkey. Now, Catherine's mother died when she was very young. When she was a very young child. It is believed her mother died when Catherine was about 10 or 12 years old. And after the death of her mother, Catherine was then sent to live with her step-grandmother, who was Agnes, and she was the Dowager Duchess of Norfolk in the countryside near Hampshire in West Sussex. And according to another historian named Josephine Wilkinson, Catherine had very few prospects because she was moved from pillow to post, basically. And according to one of my favourite historical novelists, Philippa Gregory, who wrote a number of historical fiction books on the Wars of the Roses and the Tudor period. She's written the book of the Boleyn Inheritance, The Other Boleyn Girl, and other titles. She's a very good writer, and in my opinion, one of my favourite novelists for historical fiction. She has also written a very good book named Normal Women, 900 Years of Making Making History. Now, that is a very good read. If you want to know about normal women throughout history, then I would recommend that book. Now, Philippa Gregory describes the Dowager Duchess, who was the grandmother of Catherine Howard. She's described her household as being full of her young wards and companions, and she says that they received these companions and wards also received very little supervision, so they were able to run riot and not have very much of adult influence. And Catherine, along with her friends, were also allowed to, because they didn't have very much adult influence. This allowed them to have very to entertain vast amounts of male admirers in the large shared dormitory that they slept in. So when Catherine begins her teen years, when she reaches the age of 13, that's when she begins her teens. It is said and believed to that she had started a relationship with her music teacher, and this was a man named Henry VIII, who had been employed, and he had been employed by the family, by her aunt, to teach her to play some kind of keyboard instrument. Now Catherine and Mannix were later questioned about the kind of relationship they had when Catherine was arrested for treason in the year of 1541, but they both denied that they had any sort of sexual relationship. Catherine also continued, while she was married to Henry VIII, she also continued to have an affair with a guy called Thomas Culpeper. And Catherine's maid was that of Jane Boleyn, Lady Rochford, who was the wife of Anne Boleyn's brother George Boleyn, and sister-in-law to the second Queen of England, and she was believed to have played a major role in the downfall of Anne Boleyn. Now, she played a major role in aiding this affair to continue between Culpeper and Catherine Howard. She was thought to actively encourage it, and she would actually make arrangements for the couple to meet up and continue their rendezvous when the king was away from court on his kingly duties. However, saying this, it was her earliest liaison with Henry Mannix that ultimately sealed her fate. In the summer of the year of 1541, this was a time when Henry's court embarked upon a royal progress in the north of the country, and this was when rumours of Catherine's previous indiscretions continued to haunt her, and she was forced to give favours and petitions in return for silence. That is according to historical fiction author Philip Gregory. Excuse me. 1 minute. And with all these rumours going around, they eventually reached the ear of Thomas Cranmer, who was at the time was still at the time from, up until the death of Anne Boleyn in 1536. At this time, Thomas Cranmer was still the Archbishop of Canterbury, and Cranmer was informed that Catherine's music teacher, Henry VIII, had bragged about that he knew Catherine's private part, so that through having a sexual relationship, or as we said in Tudor times, knowing someone carnally. From our look by a privy mark. Well, Francis Derham was so familiar with Catherine before her marriage to the king that he did lie with her 100 nights in the year in his doublet and O's obeyed between the sheets. Now, if Catherine had indeed have a relationship with Francis Derham, and it was reportedly supposed that she referred to Francis Derham as her husband, this would and ultimately consummated the relationship with Derham. This would ultimately mean that the marriage between her and Henry VIII was invalid, and they would, and Catherine and Francis would have indeed been technically married, according to the law, canon law enforced by the church. Cranmer detailed these having gathered all this information. Archbishop Cranmer then wrote all these allegations in a letter and addressed them to Henry VIII. It is believed that when the court was returned from the summer progress, Cranmer left this letter with these allegations in Henry's pew in the Chapel Royal. This would have made it easy for Henry to have found this letter of accusations against his fifth wife. And when Henry discovered this letter with all these allegations, so an investigation soon ensued. Durham was arrested and tortured, and under this torture, he confessed in name Culpeper, who was also arrested, and confessed under torture. Though Henry Mannix, Catherine Howard's former music teacher, was found innocent of these allegations and was eventually released. Catherine Howard was arrested at Hampton Court, one of Henry VIII's precious and vivacious palaces, in the month of November in the year of 1541. It is believed she broke free from the guards and ran screaming down the corridor to the private chapel to Henry, where Henry was believed to be at mass. According to the website of according to the website of the historic royal palaces, Catherine was believed to have screamed to the king for mercy, but to no avail. And even today, even at Hampton Court today, it is said that Catherine's ghost can be seen and heard running and screaming along what is now known as the Haunted Gallery. Now, according to historian and chief coordinator of Hampton Court Palace, Lucy Worsley, who is also my favourite historian. She does a lot of great historical documentaries on various different historical topics. She's one of my favourites. She has never seen the ghost, but according to her, there is generally one particular spot returning the gallery where, with no obvious explanation, you can feel the temperature drop. Also, Catherine was also denied a pre-contracted marriage Catherine also denied a pre-contracted agreement of marriage with Derham. Although she denied this, she was ultimately charged with treason and was exiled to Sion House, formerly Sion Abbey, which is now in the capital of London, in the West area. The former lovers of times gone by found them accused by malice intent under the fifth. This was according to the 1534 Treason Act, under which anyone could be judged as a traitor. According to historian Josephine Wilkinson, it was thought Catherine had intended to commit adultery with Francis Derham and Thomas Culpeper. So while she was innocent of an actual crime, the terms of the 1534, according to the 1534, although Catherine was innocent of a crime of committing adultery, according to the terms of the 1534 Treason Act, this allowed Henry to allow him to condemn his fifth wife for presumptive treason. Derham and Culpeper were put on trial, and they were both found guilty, and they were condemned to death for committing treason against the king. Derham was hung, drawn and quartered, while Culpeper was beheaded. The heads of both of these said former lovers of Catherine Howard were displayed on pikes on London Bridge for all to see. Catherine, however, would not face trial for her part within this treason. Instead, she would be ultimately condemned to death by an act of alty signed by her own husband's hand. Catherine was beheaded at the Tower of London at 9 a.m. on the 13th of February 1542, along with Jane Boleyn, Lady Jane Rochford, and by the time she was executed in 1542, Catherine had only been married to Henry for a year and a half, and for a period of just 18 months. And I'm really glad that that in a way, though, although like not going on about Catherine Howard, but I'm really glad that in a way that Lady Jane Boleyn, Lady Rochford ultimately was executed, because whatever you believe about Anne Boleyn, I do feel that she was a very vicious character, and Lady Rochford was just all out for herself and all out of a selfish person. So I'm glad that Lady Jane Rochford got her comeuppance in the end. But I think Catherine was like a cousin, ultimately, and innocent in all the facts. Henry, as we know, just went through wives and lovers. He had more wives than lovers when I've had hot school dinners. So there we go. So by the by, that concludes this week's episode of An Extra Slice of History with the Butterfly Princess Show. Join me for the last episode in the series of in the series of the lives of Henry VIII, where we will be discussing his sixth and last wife, Catherine Parr. So hope you can join me for that. But until then, have a lovely rest of your week, and I will see you very soon. Bye bye for now.